constructed god, tracing the Phoenician roots of biblical mythology. People create gods, not the other way around. And nowhere is this more evident than in the texts we call the Bible, a collection of Greek literature built on Canaanite and Phoenician foundations, encoding astral worship that its followers have long forgotten. Let's start with a name, Melchizedek. In Genesis 14, this mysterious priest king appears briefly, blesses Abraham, and vanishes. The author of Hebrews later claims Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek, not of Levi, the proper Jewish priestly line. Why? Because Jesus from the tribe of Judah had no legitimate claim to Jewish priesthood. So the authors reach back to this enigmatic figure to justify their theology. But who is Melchizedek? The name breaks down as Melchizedek, king of righteousness. And Tzedek, that's Sidek, a Phoenician deity associated with Jupiter. Melchizedek isn't a Jewish priest at all. He's a Canaanite priest-king serving Phoenician gods. And by claiming Jesus belongs to this order, the text reveals something crucial. This isn't Jewish messianic tradition. This is Phoenician astral religion grafted onto a Jewish narrative. Look at the titles used for God in these early texts. El Elyon, the Most High, that's not a descriptor. That's a name. El was the supreme deity of the Canaanite pantheon. When Genesis calls God El Elyon, it's using the name of a Canaanite god. The biblical tradition didn't invent monotheism from scratch. It absorbed and rebranded the gods of surrounding cultures. Consider Yahweh-Sabaoth, usually translated as Lord of Hosts. Sabaoth means armies or hosts. Yes, but in the ancient Near East, this referred to the celestial hosts, the stars, the heavenly bodies that were themselves objects of worship. The biblical God is constantly associated with these astral powers because the religion emerged from star-worshipping cultures. But here's where it gets truly revealing. Look at the sacred name itself, the Tetragrammaton YHVH, considered too holy to speak. What if I told you this name encodes its own origin story? Yalda-Sabaoth, child of the hosts. Yalda-Sabaoth. The structure is right there. The offspring of the celestial powers, the angelic host, the stars themselves. Not the supreme creator, but a being born from the astral forces. The Gnostics knew this. They called him Yaldabaoth, the demiurge, the false god who claims to be the Most High, but doesn't know there are powers above him. The name itself reveals the truth. This is not the ultimate source of existence. This is a created entity, a product of earlier cosmological forces, who then falsely claims sole creative power. I am the Lord your God. You shall have no other gods before me. Of course he'd say that. Every false god throughout history has demanded exclusive worship. And what of Jesus, Isis in Greek? The New Testament isn't written in Aramaic or Hebrew, the languages a Jewish Messiah would have spoken. It's written entirely in Greek, for Greek audiences, using Greek literary conventions. When Jesus allegedly says, "Before Abraham was, I am," connecting himself to the divine name, it only works in Greek ego eimi. In Aramaic, the language he would have actually spoken, I am is Anna or Ina na. The theological connection to YHVH as I am is a Greek linguistic construction, not anything that would have resonated in the original context. The virgin birth, solar symbolism, the sun born from Virgo. 12 disciples, the 12 signs of the zodiac, death and resurrection after 3 days, the sun's apparent pause at the winter solstice. I am the light of the world. Solar deity language, found in religions across the Mediterranean. This isn't unique to Christianity. This is the pattern of how all ancient religions worked. Observe the heavens. Encode astronomical cycles in mythology, personify celestial bodies as gods, pass down the stories until the astronomical origins are forgotten, and then claim these stories are revealed truth from the creator of the universe. The evidence is overwhelming once you look. Canaanite and Phoenician names throughout the texts. Greek literary construction of the New Testament. Astrotheological symbolism in the narratives. Syncretism, the blending of earlier polytheistic traditions into claimed monotheism. The mysterious Melchizedek connecting to Phoenician Tzedek. The Tetragrammaton itself encoding child of the hosts. We're not dealing with divine revelation. We're dealing with Greek literature built on Phoenician mythology encoding star worship, written by people, for people to explain their world and control their societies. The question isn't whether God created humans. The question is, why do humans keep creating gods? And why do we continue to worship these human constructions as if they were ultimate truth? People are indoctrinated from birth into these narratives, taught that these ancient texts contain special knowledge, that this God is different from all the others, that this religion, unlike all the others, is actually true. But when you examine the linguistic evidence, the cultural borrowing, the astronomical encoding, you see the same pattern repeated throughout human history. Gods don't create people. People create gods. They always have. The real questions: where am I? Who put me here? What is the nature of existence itself? Those remain unanswered, but we won't find those answers in Canaanite mythology repackaged as divine revelation. We won't find them in Greek literature about a solar deity claimed as historical fact. If there is something beyond this reality, some actual source of existence, it isn't found in texts written by people who worship planets and encoded Jupiter into their priesthood. It isn't found in a name that literally means child of the celestial hosts. The truth is simpler and harder. We don't know. And maybe that uncertainty is more honest than 2,000 years of constructed certainty. But one thing we can know: the Bible is not divine revelation. It's human literature, Phoenician astronomy, Greek mythology, and it's time we stop pretending otherwise.